Hey gamers, Hater115 here. 3.13 is finally out of its NDA phase, and the 400i, otherwise known as the Origin 404, is real. Of course, it's only just a troll ship, and the 400i was fake the entire time. The fact that the shadows line up completely with the leaked 400i screenshots, or the thruster effects match the very specific specs of the vessel, hell, even the fact that this is one of the only ships with a flight seat that's located towards the center of a ship, that's not the 890 jump. No, it's totally just a complete fabrication of a ship that doesn't exist, and not just a thinly veiled teaser of a new luxury vessel. I'm not at all annoyed at you non-believers. Not at all. Anywho, Theaters of War. Theaters, with an S. A peculiar title, one that's been quite odd seeing that for the longest time, there's only been a single theater in development. Taking nearly 2 years to finish even that, after all this time, it has always appeared that Crossroads of Crime was the only Theaters of War map, and for the longest time it has been. Until, of course, the recent Evocati testing of the game mode. This 3.12.1 build brought with it many changes and files, most of them pertaining to the Crossroads of Crime. However, dripping through the cracks came something new. CIG and fire sprites seem to be hitting the ground running on ScenarioTwo. ScenarioTwo in name alone is quite explanatory. It is Theaters of War's second scenario. No surprise there, as CIG isn't exactly subtle with their naming. I mean, the goddamn game mode is called Theaters of War. However, that name carries a bit more weight to it, in the story at least, as Scenario 2 is the in-lore follow-up to the events of Crossroads of Crime, where Supreme and Advocacy continue to clash after the Hathor mining colony skirmish and a continued battle over the hold of Nexus. While following the events of the initial Crossroads of Crime map, it appears to not hold the outcome of the previous into consideration, this being more a scenario versus a recorded battle. Scenario 2 takes the battle to space, with the Supreme and Advocacy fighting a 3-phase battle yet again to continue their control over the Nexus system. A little note before we go into specifics, a lot of this information comes from a sparse amount of files from a test level of the new map, rather than the new map itself. Essentially what we have is a map blockout that uses a large amount of assets from Crossroads of Crime, so while a bunch can be gleaned from a glance, looks may be deceiving. This is at best a blurry look into the future, so expect anything but the general idea of this being a pew-pew space battle being subject to change. Now that the disclaimer is out of the way, let's talk a bit about the 3 phases. The initial phase, which we have the most detail on, is a standard capture hack objective phase, where the players must compete for control over a station, which is currently the same station that's in the current version of Crossroads of Crime. There are 3 hackable areas and 3 capturable areas labeled A through C. This station is also a mineable station with a destructible laser, but this may be due to the fact that it's ripped from Crossroads rather than being yet another mining station to take over. The primary difference between this map and Crossroads of Crime is the fact that instead of being in the atmosphere of a planet, this takes place in the middle of space with a gas cloud, even using some of Delamar's assets for space foliage. On the screen now is a current look at the first phase location. Unfortunately, I was unable to figure out how to decouple from that view that you're seeing there. So this view is all we have of the in-progress map. As you can see, despite me mentioning space foliage, the map is currently a gray sphere. This is due to the fact that the map is still covered in a blockout for the playable area. Even the station, which is likely a more accurate representation of future proportions of whatever station they have in store for the later reveal and release. Phase 2 leans more heavily into the space battle theme of the scenario, where the players move to an asteroid field in order to destroy a number of destructible satellites. As of right now, there are 4 of these spawned in by the level. However, the assets are numbered up to 9, so this number is definitely being adjusted as time goes on. The final phase of the battle, Phase 3, has the players battle over a final satellite and control point. This final control point appears to be guarded by a player-controlled hammerhead, according to the map data. However, looking outside of the map data, we could see that Supreme has an Idris set up as well. Whether this Idris makes an appearance in Scenario 2 is not yet known. However, there's no better place for it to be than a larger player space battle. Whether or not Scenario 2 actually manages to peek its head out of whatever dark hole it and the rest of Theaters of War is being held is not yet known. The assets are very, very early, and even the map setup primarily uses crossroad tokens, objective tags, and even entire stations to build itself out. I cannot lie, however, the allure of entering a space-centered theater is undeniably exciting. Hopefully CIG/Fire Sprite manages to get this one out alongside Crossroads, but it's at least good to know that they've not spent an entire year outfitting a single map. Make sure you leave your thoughts on the map below, or just Theaters of War in general. And now, let me take a moment to thank all of our Patreons, especially our Leaky Pipe producers, which include Sam Zimmerman, Faydog74, Onctum, Archie, Dirk Mervis, Capt D Spawn, Josh Hallman, Yannick Gumley, Boobbot, Regula Tim, Sorston, Professor Mango, One for All, Golf Mike, and Harrison Jewell. Thank you for watching. See y'all next week, where we'll talk the guac with one of the avocados.